So, this is the fifth Q&A session for the RPG Fanatic JFreedan Martel Brothers Studios channel. First, I want to say that we're really getting down to the last 2 weeks for the Kickstarter page for GKaiser. We've raised, let's see how much money we've raised. GKaiser, Kickstarter. We are at $375 out of our $1,000 goal. We have 3 backers, so some people are really chipping in. There's 16 days left. So this is what I'm thinking. I know that there is at least about 100 of you guys who are really passionate about the show and pretty much watch any video I put up within the first day. If you guys could even chip $5, that would really help us get to completing our goal. Statistically, with Kickstarter, anybody who reaches the 75%, they basically usually reach their goal, because people will be like, "Oh, hey, this is going to happen, so I should I should jump onto this. I should be part of it." $5, you get your name as a screen credit on every episode, which thanks you for making the show a reality, because you really will be making the show a reality. If we don't get that $1,000, we really cannot do the show. $25, you get that the credits. You also get the personalized thank you card, and you get a T-shirt that says "I support GKaiser." And that T-shirt will never be created ever again. It's only for the people who helped us make this first pilot episode. So if you're interested in really helping me create more material to put on the channel that will appeal to you as well as a wider audience, and consequently get more people to also check out the game reviews and discover, computer RPGs they may never have heard of before, I would really appreciate if you would help me out with that. Let's get to the questions from last time. First question I have is from the Black Dragonfly 1. He asks, "Did you make the RPG Fanatic opening song using GarageBand or a different music program?" I made it using Soundtrack Pro, but I'm sure that the loops that I used are in GarageBand as well. I was going to have it on my website, but my website... if you've been checking the GKaiser production blog, you will have read that my web host provider for the past 5 years has skipped town. So I have no idea what happened to them, and the website, as far as I know, is completely gone. I do have a backup. It's on my my PC, which I still don't have working yet. I need to replace the motherboard. But for the time being, I'm probably not going to get another web host provider at this time. I still have the domains, so in the future, those domains will be used again. But for right now, because money is so tight, I can't afford to do it. I mean, I got this camera here, and then I just got a field recorder that cost me $600. So, I mean, with the GKaiser project, I'm spending a lot of my own personal, whatever I have, to get the equipment that I need. And the donations are specifically for the costumes and the 3D model assets, because everything else, I can't afford everything. So, if you really want to know the honest truth, I've plunged at least $4,000 into trying to make this pilot episode of my own resources, and I am tapped out. Let's go back to the questions. Soundex Fury asked me, "Thanks for answering my question in depth. I'll start by saying I don't care about the HD element that you discussed in this video. It's nice to have, but I don't think it would affect my overall viewing experience. I decided to do HD for the videos anyway. It does make it's a little harder since I can't actually see how anything is framed, and I hope that I'm at least in the video footage. The other reason is that the autofocus seems to really fuck around. If I start moving close or something, it'll start to blur in and out. And I make do. Basically, I just check it before I upload it, and if it turned out to be shit, I just redo it. Specific question from you. If you're playing a game that allows you to choose classes at the beginning, what do you usually go for? Do you think the role you choose reflects your personality or how you would act if you were in the same situation as a protagonist? I usually like to play fighter characters, and I guess it has to do with the personality. I like to be someone who's a little bit more direct, I guess. If there's a problem, I want to just, I don't want to go around it and fix it. I don't want to do it at the side where I'm safe. I want to really get in there and resolve the conflict. I usually play, if I'm playing online computer RPGs, I usually play a tank class. Failing that, I'll play a DPS class. I'm not really all that interested in long-range classes. I hate kiting. I mean, I can totally play a mage character. I play mages in a variety of different games. I just don't enjoy it as much. Now, if the game's rules really benefit casters over melee characters, I will probably reluctantly roll a mage class character. But I really do prefer to be a melee class. Has my general choice of class changed as I've gotten to know how these types of games generally work? For example, you'll always pick a thief role class in Baldur's Gate or Neverwinter Nights because I like to self-roleplay as I go through the story, and I feel it reflects my personality. However, having seen how magic works in the new Dragon Age game, I always pick the mage class because how simple it is to get through the game that way. And yeah, I'm kind of the same way. If the game mechanics are obviously oriented toward this one particular class, I'll end up having to roll that particular class in order to succeed at the game. But sometimes, I just say if they couldn't even be bothered to make all the classes have meaning and purpose, and only one class is basically the best class in the game, then my desire to play that game is greatly diminished because the developers couldn't even be bothered to make a decent, balanced game. It just couldn't. And that's one of my main gripes with a lot of massively multiplayer online RPGs, is that they're not very well balanced. And there's a couple classes that are clearly favored, and the developers have no intention whatsoever to change that. Crippled Bazooka says that he thinks that the ASCII BBS RPG game I was referring to was Lord. No, it was not. It's not a BBS RPG game. It's a DOS game. I have no idea what it's called. There were so many of these freeware roguelike games out there, it's probably impossible to even track it down. That Red Mage Dude asks, I don't really care for HD, but I do want the intro to be the same. I want to request a review for Dragon Quest VII for the PS2. I will consider it. With big, huge franchise series like that, I really want to do a special on them all, and I'm still trying to get all the Dragon Quest games and play through them, or at least play enough of them to give an accurate opinion on the series overall, because I haven't played all the Dragon Quest games. I do own a lot of them now. I think I own all of the NES, or at least Famicom games, but I haven't played them all. So I really need to do that before I pass my judgment on them. I don't really want to do a series special where I basically do one of them after the other. And I haven't got all the games yet. I'm missing some. And I'm still trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to review the DS game, because I can't even pull the footage off it, and I don't want to use an emulator. Shintai123 says, has 3 questions for me. You're obviously into anime. What is your opinion of Gundam in general? Big Gundam fan. Do you prefer alternate universe Gundams or Universal Century? I do like some of the alternate universe stuff, like Gundam Wing. I think Gundam Wing is really awesome. But, I guess I prefer some of the alternate universe stuff. The classic Universal Century, not so big into. And I think it really just has to do with how storytelling has really improved over the years with Japanese animation. That's probably it. I mean, I know who the hell they are. It's just I don't really do it. Your second question is, what do you think separates a game from being an action game with RPG elements and an actions RPG? For example, when I think Devil May Cry, I think the former, and Rogue Galaxy the latter. An action RPG and an RPG game with RPG elements. I think an action RPG and an action game with RPG elements are really one and the same. It's just an argument of semantics at that point. I'm not sure if I would consider... I guess Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry has a leveling system for their styles, right? I'll have to double check that. Third question. Finally, I agree. Zelda is an RPG, but why do you think so many people think this way? I don't understand. The reason is because Zelda is a fantasy game. And there's a lot of people who associate the fantasy genre with RPGs, because there's so many computer RPGs that are fantasy themed, and people who don't have a real understanding of game mechanics and understanding the theory that goes into it, they only look at the most obvious things like swords and magic and elves and whatever, and they say that's an RPG. Well, that's not really what it is. RPG is a genre of game, but from the game design point of view, not from the narrative point of view. And narrative, it could be anything. I mean, look at Fallout. That's sci-fi. Black Raven 117 says, "Greetings, Carrie Martell. Could you please share your thoughts on Bethesda's The Elder Scrolls franchise, or all of them, like Fallout 3? I haven't played all of them. I've dabbled a bit in Fallout, but I haven't completed it, so I like it, what I played at least, but I have not... I'll let you know when I review those games. Because at this point, I don't think I've played enough of them to really elaborate on them. Sword 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6. RPG Fanatic looks fine to me. The quality is good enough already, in my opinion. Question for Final Fantasy VII. Remember that PS3 demo they made back then? They should make that, don't you think? Especially after 13 or 14 failures, you know. They make millions on a PS3 remake. And also in Chinese plastic. I'm not really... I don't believe that any Final Fantasy game has been a failure. Now, the recent massively multiplayer online RPG, that one might, not be as successful as Square would have liked. But that's because of their own fault. And it has nothing to do with their single-player Final Fantasies. I do not think they have made a single Final Fantasy that has not been hugely successful. Honestly, it's a very strong franchise. And even if some of the games aren't as what people expected, at least, they're still some of the best-selling games out there right now. Definitely selling a lot more than anything that American developers are doing. So I wouldn't say that they're failures. Now, do I think Final Fantasy VII should be remade with the new graphics? Only in one particular case. Nothing changes except the graphics. And I don't believe that, based on some of the re-releases that Square has currently been doing, that they would do that. Because they have been tampering a lot with some of the gameplay when they re-release these games. At first, Square used to just remake it, update, give the graphics a facelift. They did that a couple times to Final Fantasy 1 and 2. But now they're like totally redesigning the games, like they did for Final Fantasy 3. And it's just, I would not like to see that happen to Final Fantasy 7. Maybe add some bonus stuff, but I would not want to see them alter the gameplay a bit. But yeah, if they re-released it with some updated graphics, I would totally play it. But I would not want to play it if they really start fucking with the gameplay system, especially the core story and the mechanics. Because I think Final Fantasy VII is a really good game, and I would not want it tampered with. RPG Swagman asked me, "Thank you for responding to my question. It is a tricky subject when it comes to Zelda, and logically what you said is true. I watched your history of console RPGs. Great job, by the way. For me, it's a personal thing. Me calling it action RPG is what I've done since I played the first one as a kid, and it was advertised as an RPG in Australia up to Arcana. But now it's classified as an action-adventure game, which is correct as well. I guess it's a difference of view. Neither is clearly wrong or right. I just checked a few random sources, game FAQs, and lists the vast majority of Zelda games as action-adventure games, but RPG Fan and RPG Gamer list them as action RPGs. It's a matter of view, and it's a tricky subject indeed." It is a matter of view, but some people have... some people's views are created in a more logical way than others. Me, for example, I'm looking specifically at the gameplay mechanics. A lot of other people only look at the narrative elements, They just think that if it looks like something, then it is that thing. But that's not really how games are. If it doesn't have a lineage to the original computer RPGs, like Wizardry, then it's not a computer RPG. A more fun question: is the student sword inspired by the Star Dragon sword from the Sokoden series, or are they distant cousins? There's lots of not mythology, but narrative and story sources you could have for a talking sword. I mean, you really want to get into it. Oh, geez, there's the talking sword from, what was that novel called? The empathic weapon, basically. And there's a very famous one, Stormbringer from the Elric series. I mean, that's mostly, I think, what they all come from. There was one in Dungeons and Dragons as well. Geez, I can't even remember what module that was. The short of it is that there's lots of talking swords in fantasy computer RPGs, and lots of them even in just fantasy literature. So the student sword is just sort of a continuation on that that trope, I guess you could call it. Let's see, what's the another question? I guess that is all the questions I have. So if you have any other questions for me or for the student sword, ask away, and we will totally answer them. And again, thank you for watching the channel. We are almost 1 year old now. I think January 7th is when I uploaded the first Unlimited Saga review to the original the RPG Fanatic channel. I also thank you for those of you who came over to the JFreedan channel and are watching them here. It's I think that the quality, I've gotten a lot better at editing these video game reviews. It's not quite the same as editing a film, which I was a little bit more, had more experience with, but now I think I've really started to get a handle on how to review, how to edit game reviews, and the basic model for how each episode goes. So, thank you guys for sticking around with us, and I hope that you will support my the web series I'm currently trying to launch in addition to the RPG Fanatic show, which is GKaiser. Because GKaiser, I think, will be really successful, and this show, of course, will always have a niche audience that isn't bad, but as a filmmaker and a storyteller, I really need to get other material out there in order for me to really grow. And doing something where I'm completely behind the camera, where I'm producing and I'm directing and managing people, that's really where my strength is. We all know that I'm not the greatest actor. I'll act in this show, but I'm not really intending to act ever again in any other shows at this time. I really want to be behind the camera. I really want to focus on that. I'm better at the technical aspect and the managing aspect of filmmaking, and that's really what I should be doing. So I hope you guys will support me in that. Thank you again.